Welcome to Thoughts and Theories. When we ask why so many Christians today struggle with their belief, we are not asking a question about whether Christianity is right or wrong. We are asking a human question. We are trying to understand why millions of people who once felt confident in their faith now feel uncertain. This is not a small shift. It is one of the biggest cultural changes of the last century. And it is happening in families, schools, cities, villages, churches, and online communities all around the world. So, what changed? Why is this generation asking questions that previous generations did not ask as openly? One of the most important reasons is access to information. For most of human history, people were limited by what they were taught at home or what they heard from local religious leaders. If a priest or a pastor explained a certain belief, there was no easy way to fact-check it or compare it with other perspectives. Today, anyone with a phone can read dozens of interpretations of a single verse or historical claim. A teenager can search how the Bible was formed. They can learn about the Council of Nicaea. They can explore archaeology and manuscript history. They can hear arguments from Christian scholars and from skeptics. This sudden access to information breaks the monopoly of a single viewpoint. Once people realize that their religious education was only one version among many, they naturally begin to ask questions. Another major reason is the conflict between ancient belief systems and modern ethical values. Many modern Christians struggle when they read old biblical laws that appear to support slavery or restrict women or punish certain groups harshly. They are told these rules were moral in their historical context, but when they compare them with the values they were taught in school, such as equality, freedom, and human rights, they feel confused. They wonder why an unchanging divine message contains rules that seem outdated or morally uncomfortable. For example, the idea that women should remain silent in church, or that certain people should be treated as unclean because of their identity, creates a clear tension for many believers who live in modern societies that emphasize equal dignity for all. This tension grows stronger when Christians see churches respond differently to social issues. Some churches adapt and become more inclusive, others hold firmly to old interpretations. When Christians see this diversity inside their own religion, they begin to ask whether the beliefs were divine and fixed or whether they were shaped by culture and human interpretation. And once the door to interpretation is opened, the door to questioning often follows. Another reason Christians struggle with faith today is the problem of suffering. This is one of the oldest questions in philosophy, but in the modern world it feels even more urgent. People see wars, famine, natural disasters, and the unfairness of life instantly through social media. A child dies from an illness. A family loses everything in a flood. An innocent person is harmed. People ask why a loving and all-powerful God would allow such things. In ancient times, tragedy happened, but it was not shown in constant real-time images. Today, it is impossible to ignore the scale of suffering. The emotional weight of this reality pushes many people to question the explanations they grew up hearing. When a Christian is told to trust God even when the world feels cruel, they sometimes find that answer too simple compared to the harshness of what they see. Science is another major factor. As scientific understanding grows, many Christians struggle with parts of their belief that seem to conflict with evidence. The age of the Earth, evolution, the formation of the universe, and the development of life all raise questions about literal interpretations of Scripture. For many people, faith and science can coexist. But for others, the gap becomes too large. When they learn how stars form, or how species evolve, or how human psychology works, they begin to ask whether religious explanations are symbolic metaphors rather than literal truths. This shift in thinking can create a slow, quiet doubt that grows over time. Moral contradictions inside religious communities also play a powerful role. Many Christians lose trust not because of theology, but because of human behavior. They see religious leaders involved in scandals, corruption, or hypocrisy. They see pastors preaching compassion but refusing to show it. They see people judged harshly instead of being supported. These contradictions make them wonder whether the message is divine or whether the institution is influenced by human flaws. When the behavior of religious leaders does not match the values that preach, many believers feel betrayed. That betrayal turns into doubt. Another reason is the rise of psychological understanding. People today understand mental health better than ever before. They understand trauma, depression, anxiety, and cognitive bias. When someone feels guilt or fear, they no longer automatically interpret these emotions as spiritual warnings. They see them as psychological experiences. A believer who once thought they were being punished by God may now recognize that they were dealing with stress or insecurity. This shift toward mental health awareness reduces the emotional hold that certain religious messages once had on people. As a result, the belief based on fear loses its power. Another turning point is the influence of diverse cultures. Young Christians today meet people of different religions through school travel, media, and the internet. They discover that billions of people believe different sacred texts with the same level of devotion. They meet Muslims, Hindus, Buddhists, Jews, atheists, and others who are sincere, moral, and thoughtful. This challenges the idea that one religion has exclusive access to truth. When Christians realize that people from other faiths feel the same certainty about their beliefs, they begin to ask whether certainty is the result of culture rather than divine revelation. There is also the issue of unanswered prayers. Many Christians grow up hearing that God listens, responds, and guides. But as adults, they face moments when their prayers seem unanswered. A sick parent remains sick. A financial crisis gets worse. A relationship falls apart. They see some people claim miracles while others suffer quietly despite praying with equal passion. This inconsistency creates emotional confusion. Some interpret it as a test of faith. Others see it as evidence that events follow natural patterns rather than divine intervention. The rise of rational thinking also plays a role. People today are encouraged to ask questions, not just accept answers. Schools teach critical thinking. Media encourages debate. People are exposed to philosophy, science, and psychology from a young age. When these tools of reasoning are applied to religion, the questions that arise can be difficult to resolve. Some believers find new ways to interpret their faith. Others conclude that their belief does not align with the evidence or reasoning they value in the rest of their life. And finally, there is a deeply personal reason. Many Christians struggle with their belief simply because religion no longer feels like the center of their identity. Life is different today. People work long hours. They move to cities. They have access to entertainment, technology, and global communication. In older societies, community life revolved around religious rituals. Today, people build identity through careers, friendships, social causes, and personal passions. Religion has to compete with many new sources of meaning. All these reasons combine to create a complex landscape. Christians today are rejecting faith out of rebellion. Many of them are thinking more carefully than ever before. They are trying to reconcile ancient beliefs with modern knowledge. They are trying to find meaning in a world that is constantly changing. They are asking questions not because they want to destroy faith, but because they want truth that they can trust. This struggle is not just happening in Christianity. It is happening in many religions around the world. It reflects the natural human desire to think, understand, and grow. It reflects the tension between tradition and progress. And it reflects the courage of individuals who are willing to face uncertainty and ask honest questions.